You have the genes to make growing Texas cotton an art, and FiberMax brings the science with advanced genetics that deliver premium fiber quality, high yield potential, and $81 more per acre than the competition. Your art, our science. FiberMax.
Hello and welcome into Lubbock Christian University's Rip Griffin Center. Day 3 of the FiberMax Caprock Classic. The final day is over. I'm Mike Graham.
And I'm Bryan Navarrete, and we're with the Lone Star Varsity High School sports staff.
This video is brought to you by FiberMax and powered by AJ Media. And Bryan, day 3 for all points and purposes is over. Odessa Permian's playing behind us against the Oklahoma City Storm in the G. Boren Services bracket. But our 3 South Plains teams that were competing, actually 4, have come through, and South Plains won a title in each game.
Yeah, it's been an exciting night, and we had some very exciting endings, especially at the last game. But I think we'll start off with, the small school girls bracket.
That's right. Ropes with a 42-35 win against Jacksboro. That was your game, Bryan. Tell us about it.
Kind of there at the beginning. They were able to get ahead, and Ropes was doing a lot of good things. Maggie Anderson, who was named the MVP of, the small school district, or the small school bracket rather, helped lift them to that win. And, Ropes kind of controlled it all the way from the beginning to the end. Jacksboro was able to do some things, but overall, Ropes just kind of had that game in the bag, and you got to witness a little bit of it, and you can kind of tell that they were just in control.
Absolutely. Ropes, I think at one point they had like a 21-8 lead, and Jacksboro kept on chipping away at it. I remember remarking to you, oh my gosh, Ropes is going to blow this game. But they didn't. They got some clutch shooting in at the very end. And, for being a 1A, granted, they're the number 6 team in 1A according to the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches poll that came out on December 18th. Probably going to rise when the new poll comes out. They were pretty big. They matched up well with Jacksboro, who I thought was a really physical team, having seen them play a couple of times earlier in the tournament.
What's more interesting is, Jacksboro had to go to shallow water to get there. And Ropes was able to top a team that went over a very competitive shallow water team to get there. And, the coach even talked about that, after the game, in that this is a team that was no joke. They went through shallow water, which is a tough team, and they were still able to come out with the win. What's even more interesting about Ropes is that they're very young, not a single senior on that team, so they're going to be competitive for a while.
And Maggie Anderson, I think, was tournament MVP. Really cool pick. She's got a great story, and definitely delivered in this game.
Definitely, and this was probably one of our closest games of the night, but as we move on to the small school boys, that was more so your game.
Right, shallow water with a 70-48 win against Alpine, and looked like it was going to be a much closer game than that. At the very end, before shallow water emptied its bench, they went on a 20-1 run that I don't think we saw coming, because Alpine began that game and they were shooting really well in it. I think they went 4 for 4 from behind the arc to begin the game, and you're like, man. And I guess you guess that a team is going to cool off after a while, but they were scoring with ease, and shallow water was fighting for every inch of the floor early in that game.
Yeah, they were using that long point, or those long shots to kind of create some distance with shallow water, but shallow water has a lot of athletes, including Jet Johnston and some other of the players that they have on there to really just run the court. And it was more like what Estacado did the other night that I saw, where you kind of wear them out, and that ball isn't going to fall forever at that three-point line. And then when it comes down to that, your athletes are going to step up, and they're going to start getting those runs.
Yeah, shallow water adjusted into a 2-3 zone and began daring Alpine to take those shots. They weren't falling. I guess they expected that to happen. You're not going to shoot 100% from the three-point line. You're looking for about 33%, which Alpine was able to get, but they started creating a lot of turnovers against that zone. Justin Cervantes leads the team with 20 points, and like you said, Jet Johnston, I think he had 11 points in that stretch where, it seemed like every possession that Alpine brought down the floor near the end of the game was a turnover. Committed 8 turnovers, and I believe that shallow water had like 15 points off those turnovers.
Yeah, and Jet Johnston was named the MVP of that, of the small school boys division. So shallow water had a really good run in this, maybe a run that some people didn't see coming, but good for them. And when it comes to things like this, it just entails so many better things coming down the line, especially as soon as they hit district.
Yep, first ever win for shallow water in the Caprock Classic. So congratulations to the Mustangs. And that brought us to our main event. I think we thought that this game was going to be really good because it was the Lubbock Cooper girls versus Levelland, unbeaten Levelland. And we thought that Cooper could present them with some new challenges. And that's what happened. A 43-41 overtime win for the Lady Pirates, with J.C. Heiss hitting free throws with 7 seconds left, and then hanging on for the last Levelland shot.
There's nobody else I think you would rather have in that moment shooting those last 2 free throws than JC Heiss. She was shooting lights out all night, not only from the free throw line, but also from the 3-point line. She was able to do a lot of big things for them and get them back to where they needed to be, and then she comes up clutch there in overtime. And what's funny about this is just like with Shallowater, it being the Shallowater boys, it being their first championship, it's the same for Lubbock Cooper. In fact, it was their first appearance in the championship game, as well as win. And Levelland was the number 2 team in their classification coming into this one, so it was going to be a tough game no matter what.
Yeah.
And Levelland did fight all the way through to the end, and I think both teams are still going to do big things when it comes to the stretch.
You're right. Levelland did really fight because they very seldomly had a lead in this game. I mean, they didn't get their first lead of the ball game until the 6:45 mark of the 4th quarter. Lead bounced around 4 times after that. They went to overtime. I think Cooper got on the board first, but Levelland managed to tie it. Did Levelland have a lead in overtime? I don't remember if that happened or not.
Going into overtime, Cooper actually chipped away there at the end. Levelland had the lead the entire way in the 4th quarter. I think it was actually almost an 8-point lead. And then you had 2 players, I think Miranda Villegas was one of them, come up with 2 points, then 2 points. And then they went 4 of 8 from the free throw line to tie it up. And then how fitting that it ends from the free throw line, considering that's how they took it there. But actually, after the game, we got to catch up with Coach Kyle Laverne from Lubbock Cooper, and we got to speak with him a little bit about the game.
The game was big for us. I knew that Levelland was going to be tough. We were going to have to come out and play. Levelland's a great program, and they're undefeated for a reason. We had a good game plan. We came out and executed it, and I'm really proud of our girls.
And with that, I mean, it's been a really fun experience, and we got to see some good South Plains basketball. Have a much better grasp on it, I think, heading off into district. Of course, with the Cooper Levelland game, Cooper is going to play Snyder on Tuesday and begin its district 4-5A schedule, and Levelland is off until Friday. They're going to begin their 2-4A schedule. So
against Denver City.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We really appreciate you guys being here. And we want to wish you a Happy New Year. So thank you very much for watching us. Once again, this video is brought to you by FiberMax and powered by AJ Media.